Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to show you how to make something fast and easy. And if you follow me on Instagram, then you know this is a meal I make about once a week, if not more. This is just my pork chops, roast potatoes, and broccoli rabe. It's easy and it's simple. You might already have most of the ingredients on hand. But we love it, and like I said, if you follow me, then you know how much we love it because it is a staple in our household, and I think you'll love it too, especially if you're Italian and you grew up with broccoli rabe and pork chops or broccoli rabe and sausage, then this is right up your alley. All right, let me sort of run you through the ingredient list because I want to walk you through what I've already done. I've got pork chops here. My preference is always a bone-in pork chop. Look how beautiful these are. I don't like super thin pork chops because they dry out, but these are gorgeous. I've got some pepperoncini rings here. Now this is actually cherry peppers, but you can use pepperoncini, but I prefer cherry pepper rings. Really nice and vinegary and super spicy. I've got a little bit of all-purpose, just as all-purpose spice mix here for the potatoes. I've got some garlic salt. I've got lots of broccoli rabe, which I'll show you how to clean in just a minute. Lots of fresh garlic and hot pepper flakes, a little bit of parsley. I've got some beer here, just a plain old lager, salt and pepper, tiny little bit of parm, and you'll need some potatoes. Now I've got my oven preheated to 425 because once the potatoes are out of the way, then everything else kind of takes the same time to cook that the potatoes do in the oven, if that makes sense. All right, so let me walk you through what I've done. I've taken some potatoes, peeled, and plunged them into some water. I bring the water to a boil and I let them boil for just a couple minutes. Then I rinse the water, I drain the potatoes, and I put them back into the same hot pot. And that allows the potatoes to kind of dry out any excess water from boiling. Now the reason I do this, and if you've been watching me for a while, you know that this is a method I've been doing a lot whenever I roast potatoes. One, it cuts the time in about half they take into the oven. And two, I feel like if you parboil them slightly, they kind of soak up more flavor. So I just think it's brilliant. Like I said, it takes less time for them to bake. It's perfect. All right, let's season them. I just season them with some all-purpose seasoning mix. I love the one from Costco that's salt-free. I like a little bit of garlic salt, a little bit of regular pepper because I like a lot of pepper. And then just because I like that little bit of, you can't taste the parm because I'm only adding about a tablespoon, but it just gives you like a nibbly salty crust on the outside. It is fabulous. A little bit of freshly grated parm. I'm telling you, it makes the biggest difference, and it is so fantastic. And I do the same thing to the pork chops. You don't taste the parm at all, but it gives you a lovely layer of salty crust on the outside and a good 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Not extra virgin, just like a good cooking oil. And then give everything a really good stir and toss. And I've got a baking pan here that I've lined with parchment paper, and the reason why I've done that is because it keeps everything from sticking and it's easy cleanup. I don't have to scrub my baking pan. Plop those babies right on. Oh, they're gorgeous, huh? And these are going to go into the oven for about half an hour, and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. But in the meantime, I'm going to switch my pans, bring it here, and then start cooking the broccoli rabe. And then once those are done, we move on to the next step. But I'll show you along the way, obviously. All right, so let's work on broccoli rabe. Now, I love broccoli rabe. I grew up with broccoli rabe. This is 2 bunches that I have trimmed, and I'll show you how to do that. Usually broccoli rabe kind of comes on stems like this, and you just take the leaves. If the leaves are the outer really big leaves, then you want to make sure that you strip them off the stem because the stem is quite rough. And then you take the center heart right there and you just twist it off, and that's all you do. You wash them and then you let them drain well. Now, I grew up with broccoli rabe, so to me, broccoli rabe has got to be bitter. That's just the appeal of it. Some people don't like that. Some people think broccoli rabe is too bitter. So you can do a few things. One, you can skip the broccoli rabe altogether and you could do something like kale. You could do spinach, but keep in mind spinach is going to wilt down to nothing. So you're going to need quite a bit to get a good amount once it's all cooked. Or you can blanch your broccoli rabe in some boiling water. That will get rid of some of the bitterness before you go ahead and saute it. I don't do that because I would rather just use broccoli or broccolini if that was the case. I love the bitterness of broccoli rabe. It's what I grew up with, it's what I love, so I don't blanch it. But if it bothers you, blanch it or use like a broccolini or spinach or kale or anything like that. So I've got some garlic in here and some hot pepper flakes with some olive oil. It's nice and sizzling. Now I am not going to wait for the garlic to cook too much simply because I don't want it to turn bitter. That looks perfect. It's like light golden. I'm going to add my broccoli rabe. It's a little bit wet, so it might splatter. Add your broccoli rabe in there. Now 2 bunches feeds my husband and I by ourselves. A normal family could probably feed up to 4 people, but we love broccoli rabe, so for us, if it's more than 2 people, then we go with 3 or 4 bunches. And you just go ahead and take your time, right, to make sure that your broccoli rabe is kind of coated into that oil. And now what you're going to do is you need to introduce a little bit of liquid to this. I'm just going to use regular water. I wouldn't use stock or anything like that because it just adds too much of the chicken flavor if you're using chicken stock. And I don't want that. I don't want to lose any of the broccoli rabe flavor. So at this point, I just add a little bit of water. Depending on how much broccoli rabe you use, you'll need about 3/4 of a cup. And then I'm going to pop the lid on. First, I'm going to hit it with some salt. Pop the lid on. Medium heat for about 10 minutes. Remove the lid and keep cooking until all the water has been absorbed, which could take another 5 to 7 minutes, and I will show you what they look like when they're done. And that's how you cook broccoli rabe. For those of you who ask me every single time I share it on Instagram, now you know. Broccoli rabe look fantastic. Remember, they were covered for about 10 minutes. I took the lid off and I let them cook until most of the liquid was evaporated, but you want to keep just a little bit behind, otherwise your broccoli rabe will be really dry. We don't want that. So now let's move on to the pork chops. I added a bit more oil. I don't even bother washing the pan because why would you? I added a bit more olive oil to the pan. To the broccoli rabe, I just do a little garlic salt. Garlic salt's really mild, but it just gives you that little bit of extra flavor without being like garlic in your face, because I don't want that for this particular recipe. And then I just do the tiniest bit, look, from above. So it's really light bit of cheese. This just provides extra salty crust on the outside, and to me, any kind of meat that doesn't have that kind of crust, delicious crust on the outside, is like really, really, really missing out. So now that I've got one side done, I'm going to place them into my really hot pan, and then I'll do the opposite side. Now I've only got 3 here because you can see these are giant. They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to do the other side now. That's perfect. And I'm going to cook them, I'm going to say about 3 minutes or so on the first side. And then when we flip them, I'll show you the next step when we flip them. So let these cook on this side and I'll show you the next step. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. You want to make sure you get that beautiful crust. Sometimes it just sticks a little bit to the bottom of the pan. Oh, how gorgeous is that? Now, that's beautiful. That's the keeper. Now, this is the point where you take your cherry peppers, and I just put some on top, scatter some of them around, and you let this cook for about 3 more minutes. A little tiny bit of the juice. You let this cook about 3 more minutes. Once that 3 minutes is up, take them out. I'm going to put a screen on, just the splatter screen on them. Once that 3 minutes is up, and I just move my pan around to make sure that it's got even cooking all around it. Once that 3 minutes is up, I'm going to remove the pork chops to a clean plate, and I'll show you the next step. Pork chops are done. They are resting. Now look in here. This is all goodness. I need that, and I want that to make a quick little sauce / gravy. So I'm going to add a little bit of beer. You can add stock if you want to, and a little bit of water just to kind of thin it out a bit. Let that come to a boil, and just once it starts to boil, it's already happening right now. You can see if you come real close, it's going to release all those juices and bits that have been stuck to the bottom of the pan. All right, see what I mean by the bits just kind of like lifting off the bottom of the pan? Just let this simmer until it's about half the amount, and it'll be nice and delicious. And then we'll drizzle that over the pork chops, and by then the potatoes will be done. We serve and eat. Look at that. That is so gorgeous, and I've been taste testing it, and it's just phenomenal. If you don't like a lot of heat, definitely scale back and use less peppers, but we love this, and we eat it often for a good reason, and I love the spice. So pour some of that delicious saucy gravy goodness over the top. By the way, if you don't have Christmas hand towels or oven mitts in your kitchen throughout the year, are you even living your best life? Just saying. And then a little parsley on top. That's it. Easy and simple and delicious. Your potatoes, look at them. They're just perfect. Your broccoli potatoes are beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. You know, no one's around right now. So, let me live my best life. Broccoli rabe, perfection as always. The pork chops, I mean, for real. Does not get better. You take a little piece, definitely the wrong knife, but we will survive. Oh, gorgeousness. Again, no one's around, no one's here. I live my best life. For me, for our family, these are classics. These are on the weekly rotation menu, and I hope that they can be on your weekly menu as well. Go to laurainthekitchen.com. I will have the breakdown recipe there for you. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me. I need me a new tater, and I will see you next time.